Okay, there we go. I think we're recording now.
Oh, yes, I see it right in the corner.
All right, perfect. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us with these new moon vibes. So I'll introduce myself quickly and then introduce our guest speaker tonight. So my name is Kaitlyn. I'm an intuitive mentor and host of the Facebook group Moon Mystique and Mastery. And I love to teach about the moon magic, which is all about your subconscious thoughts, right? And your limiting beliefs, intuition, how to develop that further, how to trust that fully, and then your emotions too, how to really let those flow and how to let those move so we can heal them and we're no longer run by them, but we can, respond differently in our lives instead of reacting to everything. So that's what I love to teach about. And tonight we have a guest speaker, Jess, who is a beautiful intuitive soul as well. She's all about the moon and moon magic, but I'll let her introduce herself and jump into our topic of creation today.
Ooh, I'm so excited because I don't know if anybody else felt the shift, but this new moon has brought like a huge awareness into like how we want to start creating for the future. So super powerful stuff we have going on right now. And so anyways, my name is Jess and I practice shadow work, which is emotional alchemy. So it's the process of taking pain, turning it to power, wounds into wins. And I do all of this through working with universal forces. So pairing up ourselves and our healing process through what's happening in the celestial sphere, what's happening on the earthly plane, and all of those different modalities to really give a soul body alignment perspective to moving throughout our journeys. So one of the ways that I do this is through infusing given elements and energies from what the universe is providing into physical objects such as candles, intention candles, that I also amplify with Reiki energy. I am a certified Reiki master teacher. So it's a little added bonus that I like to throw in there to really just share that magic with the collective. So today, what I wanted to do is really introduce you to the aspect of setting your intentions when making magical elements and items and totems that you can use. So we're going to focus on the candle aspect today and really just embodying that emotional frequency that allows us to pair up with the universe. And with this new moon frequency still being with us and this energy being so powerful, we have such a great opportunity to really utilize this in any way we want to, even in our homes this evening. I mean, you can put together certain herbs, stones, elements that you just have laying around or on your altar and really bring something powerful to light. And we're just going to accelerate that and show you a new technique of doing it. So I'm just going to get a finished product real quick because I just realized that the one I have right here is totally burnt out. So just 1 second and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I love that you're talking about this subject because I teach a lot about breath work and kind of that beautiful, the energy of breath and how I think it connects us to spirit, right? We can't see it, but yet it's this beautiful, like spiritual, physical connection too, because we can feel it. We know it's there. We know we're breathing. And it's like the similar topic that you're talking about, only incorporating other elements. So I love that you're sharing this today.
And the unseen force and forces at play within ourselves that we hold and that the universe is like asking for us to respond to are such a missing element from what we have going on in this busy go type of masculine based society model that we have. So all of these elements, like the breath work, is connected directly to your intentions and your energy. And I mean, working with Reiki and stuff like that, you can amplify anything. Even without the Reiki, you can amplify an intention and manifestation just through doing breath work. And that's why that's so interesting what you teach and what you do, because that's such a powerful force that anyone is capable of doing because we naturally just possess that ability.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's accessible to us all. Yeah, which is why I'm like, I have to share this. Like, it's so simple. Like,
for sure.
Cool.
Oh, I just love that. It's amazing. Okay, so the biggest part about bringing together a magical tool or item is going to be your emotional frequency. And that is really the underlying tool of any type of magic or manifestation work you do in general. So the frequency is literally everything and more. And frequency is all based on your emotion. So the goal is always going to be soul body alignment. So taking the unseen forces, taking what's within yourself, and aligning that with the physical nature so that they're one and you produce the result. It's kind of like like an equation, 1 + 1 is 2. You need body and soul to bring about whatever it is you're trying to resolve. It's how it works. So we're responding to that, and we're gaining our elements together from the earthly plane, and we're pairing that with an emotion or a feeling and things that amplify what it is we're bringing about. So since we're moving into Valentine's Day in a couple of days, we also are moving into Pisces time. Pisces is a huge, 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 it's an end. It's the last astrological sign of the calendar year for astrology, for the celestial sphere. And with that, I'm going to give you some elements that you can use. So even if you're not going to make candles, if you want to put together a spell jar, just certain things for your altar, all of these elements that I'm going to provide to you today are going to be perfect to bring that about. And with Pisces season, it's all about your intuition. It's this duality. And whenever you have duality, you really need to focus on a soothing nature, a calming nature, an aspect of love, and an aspect of love, I mean, from yourself, because that fulfillment is it's the spark of magic, is doing this for your benefit, because you kind of just need to want something and let yourself have it. Not to quote Halloween Town or anything, even though I was just watching it last night, so that's exactly why that came up. But you know what I mean? That's exactly what magic is. So what we're doing today and the elements we're choosing have to do with what the universe is going to be asking us for. So during Pisces season, the universe gives us all of these aspects and influences, and we're going to respond to those with the earthly elements that go together in that nature. Okay, so this candle that we're going to put together is going to be all about loving ourselves on a soul level underneath the surface, all pieces, because of the duality, and learning to speak that language, our love language, through understanding ourselves fully. Okay, so you always want to set your space to be something that's calming and relaxing. So if you have a diffuser you like to get going, or incense you like to light, like I said, it's all about the energy you're personally in, and the energy of your space, because your space is an extension of yourself. So depending on how you work, it's going to look something different for everyone. And there's no correct structure to doing anything that has to do with magic and amplifying your energy. It's what you feel. That's what it is. You just need to take any label or structure out of it. It's what you feel. So if you thrive in chaos, by all means, do your magic in fucking chaos, because that's who you are. And I think that's so important to remember when we're going about these things, because people overthink it. And when you overthink it is when you create the resistance within yourself, because that is the doubt. The overthinking is the doubt coming through. So just do you, whatever that means in any aspect.
I love
Okay.
that you bring that up, because I talk about this a lot too. It's like, because you're right, we do tend to overthink it, and it's like there's so many ways, and like, let me seek this person's advice. But it's like, hold on, like, follow your curiosity. Just take a breath, follow your curiosity. It's probably the first thing that you thought of, like creating your space. Like for me, that's my like Christmas lights, or like the fairy lights, and like dim lights and stuff. But yeah, whatever it is that you're drawn to, yeah, 100%, I agree. Like, create that. It's beautiful and perfect, just as you're imagining it and thinking of it in your own
And
mind.
to play off that, the reason you're thinking of it and you're imagining it is because it's kind of like having a nutritional deficiency or something like that. And, and then your body craves certain things. When you have thoughts or draws towards something, it's because your soul, your energy needs that aspect. So if you're thinking, oh, like, I just want to do this way, there's a reason for that. It's because your unseen forces are calling for that. So we can never like weigh anything out. We just kind of have to accept what's coming for us, because once we can do that, makes everything so much less stressful. And
so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what I recommend doing, well, I guess this is what I do, and you can take it as a recommendation or do it your way. It doesn't really matter. But how I like to think about how I'm going to create candles and things like that is I just like have a card, and I sit around and I just think of whatever thoughts come to mind. So I'll look at the vessel I'm going to use. Okay, so this would be the vessel that I would create this for. And it looks just like, a really basic thing. It was probably a shot glass one time because I upcycle. But you know what? The shape of something, the way it falls, what you have going on in your mind, everything like that comes together when you just look at something. So I'll set this down somewhere, and then I'll have a piece of paper. Right now I have a note card, and I'll just like write down anything that comes to mind. Just like, even if it's like, you know, square, or like, you know, like a color, or like a
Blue.
word.
Yeah, exactly.
Blue,
Like
yeah,
a
like
color.
anything, or like, you know, grass, like anything that it would be. And I would just write those things down, and then look at that next to the piece that I'm going to create. And that's when you can kind of get the visual, because this is what you're doing right now. You're taking your soul, your intuitive messages, and you're pairing them together with your body being the physical, the earthly plane. And you have that perfect equation for magic. So you're taking one aspect, you're giving it the other, 1 + 1 equaling when we see our finished product over here at the end. Okay. And that's exactly what it is. And that's like how simple it is. And that's, you know, when you take it down to those terms, it's really powerful, because it's so easy. And it's just you like pairing things. It reminds me of being like in art class as a kid, when they're just like, oh, just go for it. That's kind of what it's like. Okay. So you have your vision, you're feeling it. And then what I always recommend is, again, I'm going to tell you, don't think too much about it. So yes, there's certain herbs and elements that amplify and do certain things, and those you can definitely look into. But if you're thinking like, oh my God, I'm cleansing, I need to have sage, but you're not feeling drawn to using sage in the process, maybe you're reaching for juniper or something. Maybe you don't need the clearing you think you do, but you need the protection that juniper would provide. And you just don't, you're not really aware of it, because your soul, like I said, your energy needs that other herb or something. So don't overthink it. If you are like, okay, I need a clearing agent, and you're automatically reaching for sage, and you know that's a clearing agent, you don't need to use it just because it's a clearing agent if you're drawn to something else, or if you're not feeling it. Again, it's all about the underlying frequency and feeling. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to always think about. And like I said, you already have your essence, you have your vision. Even if you don't have a finished product, you know the feeling surrounding. There'll be a connection between all your bullet points. There really will be. There's no way there wouldn't be. So you'll have that feeling, you know what you're going for. Okay, so what you're going to also want to have is, you're going to want to have a bowl that you can combine everything in. I don't like to just combine and put in the candle. I like to do things separately, again, like an equation. Okay, because that's kind of, for me, it's that fulfillment of everything. I like to do things intuitively. However, I also do like to know what I'm putting together. Now, if you just want to throw everything in one thing, totally cool. If you just want to have your wax melting and do it, totally cool. And like I said, this is going to be more about intention. I will tell you a little bit about how to like do the candle process and adding things and stuff like that. But this is the most important part, because at the end of the day, you can melt wax and throw anything into it, and like, you're going to get a candle. So, but this is the most important part, is the intuitive aspect of it. So I like to have one main bowl, which is going to be my result, my 1 + 1 equaling. This is going to be my equal bowl. Okay. And if you saw I had a feather in there, it's because all of the vessels that I use, I like to do an incense with first. And also metaphorically speaking, I guess would be the right word. When we're going to do our enchanting, our brewing, this is what I use to stir. I'm not really stirring, but it's the energy that we're stirring up. So I like to have a feather of some sort. Now you can have a crystal wand, whatever it is you want to use, have that. I like to have a feather. I don't know why. I think it's fun. And especially if you have smoke, like it just, I don't know, it kind of makes me feel more witchy than usual. So anyways, okay, we have our equal
And there's
bowl.
that animal magic, that animal element in it too, which I like.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's bringing that earthly, that power, and with the bird, the flying, the freedom, like the kind of connection to the heavens and all of those sorts of things. And kind of like ancient wisdom and all of that, all of it. It's all just beautiful in that aspect. Okay, so our equal bowl we have right here. Now I have two separate equation bowls. And they're actually really cute. They're shaped like moons. But in one bowl I have, and the reason that I like to separate things is I like to charge their power in this form. So I'll explain that. In this bowl, I have rosebuds, rose quartz, and rosemary. So this is one part of the equation. It would be like one parentheses in a math equation or whatever. Okay, so the rosebuds I have for just love, that deliciousness, luxury, that February spirit in general. that fulfillment of self, that all of those vibes, those like gooey, delicious, like you're eating a chocolate chip cookie in silky bed sheets that's still warm type of thing. Okay, that's what my rosebuds are for. And that really kind of like gets me going. I'm a comfy girl. I mean, like, this is how I feel cool, you know, with my hair messy and everything like that. So that's what I associate with this. Now, you might see rosebuds and think like sexy, date night, black dress, whatever. But again, it's all about the emotion behind it and what we're trying to create. And that would bring the same emotion to you. We're just all living from a different experience. Okay, so that's why I have the rosebuds charging in here. Also, I have rose quartz because that speaks to our heart energy. It also plays off the emotion that the rose buds give us. And as well, rose quartz is just a really powerful overall stone to use because it is the center of balance in our chakras. The heart center is between the masculine and feminine energies, the spiritual and the physical plane. So anytime you can just throw rose quartz in anything, you're like golden. Like, you're going to have a good experience with that. You really can't go wrong. So those two adding up. And the final piece of this equation is going to be the rosemary. Now, I really like to use rosemary for remembrance. And for remembrance, I mean remembering who I am, remembering what feels good in my spirit, and remembering what feels good in my soul. So together, this is all the love portion that I need to make my vision that I have here. Okay. And again, we're talking about that dreamy, that intuitive, that duality of February that I spoke about before. And then, of course, you know, I have this cute little moon container now, and this is really important as well. It's really important that you are charging things in something that's meaningful and that gets you going. Like, you know how I just got stoked about this and how excited I am about these? I got a bunch of these at Goodwill for $7.99. And every time I use these, it gets me excited. And you have that high vibrational emotion. You don't want to just be using random things. It's all about the whole process. And that's a quick side note real quick. You want to make the whole experience a process. Now, every candle I make, I personally go out and thrift from somewhere because, like I said, I don't want to create new trash by buying new things. I upcycle, cleanse, all of that. But for me, when I'm out there and I'm thrifting and I'm looking for vessels and I'm like, oh, there's one. Oh my God, wait, there's 5 of them. And I'm all jazzed and excited. That energy is already with this because I found that and I was like, yes, I'm so fucking grateful to have this. So the whole entire process, everything that you use that's connected to the emotion of it is the most important thing. It's more important than anything else, than any meaning that herbs have, than any properties they have. It's more important than all of that. Can you relate to that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was vibing off that. I was thinking of like intention and purpose, like those words can go together, you know, when we're talking about setting your intentions for the new moon. It's like, okay, what is my purpose? What do I want my purpose to be this week and 6 months? And then you probably set like your mind on, okay, I'm going here, I'm looking for this item, right? And then you found it. Like, that's the beauty of like synchronicities. Like for me, you know, I'm just like, it makes me smile and giggle when things like that happen. Like you were expressing there, just like, oh my God, yes, I like found this. I'm so excited. So yeah.
No, and it's really so powerful. I'm completing this order for one of my other friends who's a coach, and she needed like 16 of something, and I'm going to Goodwill, and I live, you know, in a small town. I'm like looking, I only find 8. And then I'm looking, I find 14. And then I walk in this little random thing and there's another 2. And I had 16 of them. And I was like, this was meant to be. Like, I wasn't even planning on coming here today. I got this message to do boom, 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 everything lined up. And it's just that energy, that excitement. And that's what you want to bring to the table from the beginning. And in saying that too, you shouldn't be doing, if you're not feeling called to be making magic, to be doing magic, to be setting your intentions, that means your body is looking for reset and realignment, and you should be chilling. That's just as powerful. Because if you go into something or you go into make something and you're not, the underlying tone isn't there behind the intention, behind your creation, behind what you're doing, the universe can call your bluff. You know, magic really isn't a fake it till you make it thing. The emotion really needs to be there. Now, you can fake it till you make it to get to that emotion. And then once you're there, do it. But like, I don't recommend going into it without feeling 100%, because you might be disappointed in your result and that'll just add resistance, or, you know,
I just got chills as you said that too, as you're describing it. I was like, oh, chills. Yes. Confirmation. Yeah. And as you like do the work and do the self work too, which I know, you know about this, it's easier to trust and kind of lean into that, because you could easily be in the habit of you know, going like, okay, I have this project, I need 16, like I'm going to Goodwill, and like they're not going to have 16, like there's going to be random things, and that can like, those 16 things could be there, but you could miss it because of your energy and that internal dialogue and that emotions that you're talking about. You're setting yourself up
Exactly.
kind of. But when you do the work, it's easier to lean into trusting, and it's like, it's a practice really, is what I have found,
Oh,
to
it
kind of show up
totally.
consistently in the smallest of ways. You know, pausing with yourself to take like 3 breaths is like one practice you could do consistently. That would help you lean into this, like, you know what, here's my intention, okay, I'm just going to go look. And that openness
Yes.
is magical.
It really, you know, it truly is. And that willingness to realize as well that, like, you know, maybe you're not vibing with something that day and you just need to be chilling, and you don't have to do, you know, your gratitude that day or whatever. And just relaxing is giving gratitude to your body, or not creating is honoring yourself as well. And when you find that, that's what you find through the work and the practice too. Excuse me.
Mhm. Oh, you're totally good. Yeah, listening to yourself and knowing exactly, like you mentioned, the rest, like that's so important and so vital. Sometimes I even think more important, because that's when you're restoring, that's when you're really growing.
Mhm.
That's when the growing is taking process. Like I just became a mom last year, right? So
Oh
learning about
yeah.
these things with babies, like that sleeping, that's when they're growing.
Oh,
Right? And we need
absolutely.
that rest to grow energetically as well.
Oh, of course. And whenever you're doing anything that's related to energy work as well, or pulling from other like realms of the celestial sphere and aligning with the universe in that matter too, you have that much more influence. So like you lose that much more energy sometimes as well. And that's why that's so important. Um, okay. Second half of our little intention that we're doing. So, like I said, the first, we're focusing on remembering ourself, our love, honoring our body, honoring our soul, all of that. Now with Pisces, and because that's what our vision is going to be, we're also tuning into our intuition and to receive divine messages. And that was a great precursor to receive divine messages, and just to be able to trust our intuition and trust just how we're feeling, and honoring that. We need to be able to be relaxed. We need to be able to speak on our emotions and speak on what we're feeling, as well as we need to understand that what doesn't seem logical is still just as integral and important. And by logical, I mean societal based. Because when you're going through healing, when you're working in these aspects, the more you uncover, the more things that are right for you don't really so much align with the societal standard of certain things, or what other people would view as like, oh no, this is important and normal. So you have to be able to be in a position of feeling okay in your vulnerability with yourself and your intuition, and having that relationship of respect with your intuition and your energy. So that's what we want to pair with this to bring about that duality, that intuitive spirit, that self-fulfillment, everything. These two together, it is a recipe. So this is like a recipe that you can honestly use whenever you just need to elevate your own hype. You know what I mean? When you really just need to hype yourself in such a way that you're like leaning into everything you feel and your notions, and you're not second guessing. Perfect brew for this. And whatever you want, if you want to stuff it in a bottle, whatever it is. But so the two things I have on this side: lavender, 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 lavender. Lavender is always an amazing go-to in anything you're doing, even if you're just sprinkling it around your crystals on your altar, because sometimes your crystals can, when they absorb or take on your energy, they can start to get uneasy. And you might feel that sometimes when you are around them. Like if you've just gone through something emotional or something, you know, that's making you surge energy and stuff like that, they're taking that on. And what you can do also, you can just sprinkle some lavender within your altar. Lavender is just, it's the most amazing go-to you can have in any aspect. And it pairs beautifully with the rosemary and the rosebud and everything like that. So we're taking the lavender and we're pairing it with this lapis lazuli. And what's really great about this is it's going to help expand the throat chakra. And when we expand our throat chakra, we automatically send a reaction to our third eye and our crown, because our throat chakra is the chakra that is most closely connected to the physical realm from the divine realm, from the spirit realm. So you have the throat, the third eye, and the crown that are all connected to spirit. And this is going to be the it's like the outward flow of the spirit realm, of your intuition, of your soul. Is going to be through your throat chakra. And you want to have that be expanding and growing as you are growing in self-love and self-fulfillment. This is another reason this blend is so good, because as you grow in self-love, as you grow in self-fulfillment, as you remember who you are, as you activate those things, like I said, you're going to have to speak new truths. You're going to have to become aligned with what you're putting out there in a new sense of perspective. So to do that, you want to have your lavender to soothe and ease any of that that anxiousness, that
Resistance or
resistance.
unfamiliarity, I
Yes,
think is a good word too.
that's
I'm
exactly
familiar
what I was looking
with
for.
that.
That's exactly what I was looking for. And the lavender is perfect for that. And another thing, now I add these at the end. I don't know if I have it right here. I highly recommend, if you're going to do any type of work like this, you need to get yourself a big ass bag of herbs and flowers, because it's just really nice to have it on deck. So another thing I would definitely add to this, I wonder if I have it available right now. I don't know if
And I love that you use lapis too while you're looking for that, because that's one of my favorite stones. And I thought of those words because that's one of my biggest areas that I've had to work on as I've become an entrepreneur, as I got more into my intuition as well.
Yeah.
And as you were talking too, creation, that expression of, our own thoughts, our own emotions, but our intuition as well. It's allowed to be art. It's allowed to be creating tools for people. It's allowed to be creating a service if you're, in a business or what have you, or writing. Like, it's allowed to be all of these things. It's not just necessarily speaking or vocalizing.
Exactly. And I also really find that it's very beautiful when people can put emotion into physical form, and people are very receptive to that, because it allows them to awaken their sense of self kind of passively. You know what I mean? They get to take that jump. They get to get that candle that helps them speak their truth and awaken self-love, and get that little get your toes wet feeling that kind of can lead them to anything. And that's what's so great about creating physical items and like having your energy within them, because it can really just open anybody up to what they're looking for. I truly feel. Okay. Oh, tea. So another thing I would really add to this, since we're doing the throat chakra, we're speaking, we're learning to love, all of these new things and perspectives are coming. We have this duality to deal with. This is lilac tea. I also have a chamomile, but adding these in would be really great, because you're going to want to soothe that chakra. Now, your chakras, your energy centers are connected to your physical well-being. So if say your throat chakra is overactive or underactive, you could have raspiness. You could have this inability to really, even speak. People sometimes develop, what is it when you lose your voice? Laryngitis and stuff like that, when they have like an underactive throat chakra, because like they just can't get out what they need to. And like it's all connected. So I think that is also a really great thing to add in with the lilac. So next up, in creating your candle, your intention magic, whatever it is you're going to do, your spell jar, is you want to put together what you're going to add first. Now I'm going to speak from a candle perspective, because right now, we had our wax melting. I don't really have wax melting right now, but we have our wax melting. Now, what I like to do first is I like to get together what I'm going to put into the melting wax. So for me, I don't put crystals in the melting wax. That's something that I save for topping or dropping in or putting in the bottom before I do the wax. So put those to the side. But inside the wax, it's really, really nice to infuse the herbs besides just dropping them in as the wax is hardening. I like to infuse, because every ounce of that melted wax, once it hardens, is going to have those herbs within it. So it's really great, because you're not just getting the essence sprinkled on, it's becoming one with it. Okay. Which is also really nice, because at the end of your candle, if you have a little bit of wax left, personally, what I like to use is I use those as my burning vessels when I do burning ceremonies and stuff. So the energy from that wax, when I put the burning papers and everything into the vessel, gets infused with those intentions that I'm trying to call in through my burning or release to give back to the earth. So it's a really great purpose. It's an intentional action that you might not think. You might just think, oh, I can just throw it on the top. But if you take that extra step, there's just that extra little bit that can carry on within you and within everything that you're doing. So in this bowl, I would add some lavender. Why not mix it up right now? Just put it in a little jar. So put a little bit of lavender. Now, another good thing about this, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no how much you put in there, not enough. Like, you literally just go with it. Now, if you're someone that's structured, maybe I'm a water sign. If you're maybe a fire sign or an earth sign, I mean, even air sometimes, it doesn't really matter what sign you are. But I mean, if you're someone that needs a little structure and you want to be like, okay, I'm going to do 2 pinches of this, 2 pinches of that, go for it. I just kind of go off of instinct, kind of like how I cook and stuff like that. So with that lavender, I am also going to put in some of my lilac tea. And the whole time I'm doing this, I like to have my intention card and the vessel where I'm doing this. Now, also another thing, I don't mix together my ingredients for charging and stuff while I'm doing this at my stove or anything. I do it in like my sacred space, like at my desk or by my altar, stuff like that, because that's where the energy is. So we have the lilac and we have the lavender. And because those two are part of the same equation, what I would do is I would start by doing these, because you do your parentheses first and then the equation, and then you add them together. So when you are brewing Magick, you go clockwise to charge everything. Now, one of the things I say, now you can say whatever you would like, but because we're calling on the earthly plane and pairing it with our spirit, I say, I call upon the gatekeepers of all directions and the elements in which they represent to please bond and bring to the highest quality these ingredients for creation. Okay. Or something along those lines. I kind of just pulled that out of my head. But then once you feel it, now you want to keep doing this until you feel that energy swirl. You can even you want to feel that energy. And once you feel it, then you go counterclockwise. You say, I now release this energy to embody this space, this time, this home, whatever it is. If you're making something for a specific person, you can say their name, however it is you want to go about it. Okay. And then once I put it down, I would hit it 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, you, me, the universe, 3 times. That's how I like to do it. That's my own little thing, you, me, and the universe. And then what I would do is I would take the next portion that I'm going to infuse into the wax. Now the rosebuds, I'm not going to infuse into the wax just because, I don't know, I like to do rose petals. So I'll use like some of the rose still though. I'll take anything that's at the bottom of my bag or jar of stuff, and I'll take those and I'll just sprinkle some of that in. I'm not going to get all the way down there right now though. And then I would take some rosemary and put that in as well. And right now, remember, we're doing our wax blend. So we're going to add this to the melted wax before we add our essential oils and stuff like that. And then you would do the same thing. Now it's important you do it again. You have to thank the gatekeepers. You have to call upon them. I mean, you don't have to do whatever suits you, but since I'm the one doing this, that's what I would do. Clockwise until you feel that energy brew. And then you're going to go counterclockwise. And then right now you have everything you need to put into your infusion that's going to be poured into your wax. So that's added into your wax. And while you're doing that, you can start adding your Magick to your candle. Now I think about what I put in before the wax at the bottom of the candle as the Magick's foundation. So I always put a couple of the stones that I'm going to use into the bottom of the candle. I'll put some resins in there sometimes too, if I'm using any sorts of resins. You do want to be mindful if you're going to be shipping what you're going to be, how heavy the things are you're putting in the bottom. Just, I mean, sometimes you ship presents, stuff like that. Just something to remember, a little expert tip right there, because if they shake or move or like there's just too much pressure, it can like go through the bottom. So you're going to put your stuff in the bottom. Now also you can add some herbs to the bottom too as well. That's what I like to do. So whatever I put in the wax infusion, I do like to put into the bottom of the candle, because we're building the foundation of the Magick. And I like when it looks natural. I honestly don't pick any of the stuff out of it. So like with that tea, there was some twigs and stuff like that. I don't pick any of that out of there. I like to leave it in there. Now this bottom part doesn't have to look any type of way, because what you're doing is you're pouring the wax on it anyway. So it's going to solidify, some of it will flow, all of that stuff. And then I do some rose petals in there too. Also, whatever essential oils I'm going to use in my blend, I would put 1 drop in the bottom as well, just to kind of, to build the foundation. Now, what you want to do is after your stuff is completely melted and everything is infused, you're going to wait for your wax to cool down a little bit. Exact temperatures, whatever, going to depend on what you're doing, what your melting levels are, all of that. That's basic. You can look up that kind of candle stuff. But anyways, you're going to add your oils once the wax is cooled down a little bit more. Still melted though, obviously, because we haven't poured it in yet. You're going to add your oils. Now, choosing your oils is just going to be an added part of the equation. So you have the equals of your wax infusions and your full charging, your full equation, and now you're adding on something else. So, oh wait, actually, it's kind of like the tax. The oils are like the tax to the equation. We're amplifying it. We're adding a little bit extra. So you want to choose your oils based upon the same energies, the same frequencies, the same intentions that you're going about, but also over your feelings. So this one I actually pulled was joy. Now this has like bergamot and a little bit of citrus, all of that. But I really, really urge you just to feel. You're going to feel. You're going to have your cards. You're going to have this there. You're going to want to know what scents are going to come to life. Something else I highly recommend. I like to use coconut oil in my candles as well. And coconut oil is just going to give it that really just warm, long lasting burning effect. So if you add a little bit in there too, you're going to have that natural, I think about it kind of like you're adding that extra luxury element to there. You have that extra like fattiness to it, that extra hype that we're talking about, that we're building with Magick. It's all about feeling that deliciousness. That's a better word. You're adding that deliciousness into your blend, that extra succulence or whatever. So you got your oils in there, you got your herbs in there, you've got your foundation built inside your candle. Now, before you pour the wax, you want to hold your candle and you want to like think about what it is coming out of this, or feel it, and don't focus too much on it. Like you're already going to be so hyped. Like this whole process has been so fucking fun for you. You're going to be like, hell yeah. And you're already going to be about it. And so don't think too much about it. If I could give you any advice, it's don't think too much when you're doing Magick. It's not about that. It's about the first thing. The flash
just
memory.
get into it. Yeah. And just hopefully by then, yeah, you'll be in a flow state and you'll just be like moving.
You'll be like, yeah, exactly. And you'll be all about it. But you just want to like give that glass that love and just be like, I see you. I chose you. I built you. Here I am. Like fucking thank you. And one thing that I like to do is I always like to ask the candle before I pour, just to embody whatever magic the receiver is looking for and make sure they receive it. But I mean, I say it more poetically in the time, but essentially what you want is you want the candle to burn the whole amount of time until the receiver has fully infused its elements and properties, if that makes sense. So you want to be sure that like there's an extension on it, that, it goes out if it needs to. So if your receiver is using it and maybe they're not in the right energy, maybe the candle just, isn't staying lit that long that day and things like that. So you want the candle to understand its job, understand its duties, understand what it is doing for somebody else. And you're going to feel really goofy when you're like sitting there being like, hey, can you like make sure that Kaitlyn gets all the magic she needs? And like, if she's not really vibing, that, you put yourself out and the magic isn't wasted or lost because her energy isn't there. And you're going to feel really goofy, but like you're building that relationship with your soul, with your emotions, and the physical. And that's the universal equation: soul body alignment. Soul body equals alignment. And in alignment, we can achieve and bring about everything that we desire to do. Okay.
Right. In the beginning, yeah, you might be like second guessing or off, but with practice, like that familiarity, like
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's and you know what? Eventually you're gonna be like, you should see me talking to my candles now. I'm like, as they're drying, I'm like, oh yeah, you get it. Like, oh, you want a little bit of this sparkle? All right. And like, that's what it like gets down to. And it becomes a whole experience. And while you're communicating like with that, it's like you're communicating with like your intuition and your imagination. Like you're in it, you're about it. Like it is what it is. And like it is like that. And it's a whole fucking mood,
100%. And yeah, for the people who might not like create like something like this, maybe, someone watching like pulls cards or their tarot reader, or even oracle cards, like maybe they do this. I know I do this and learn this way. Like you set the same intention of like asking for the highest good. whether it's reading for yourself, whether it's reading for someone else. So I love, that this is incorporated too in your creation.
Because it's all the communication. I mean, even when like I'm reading cards, I'm like, all right, guys, here we go. Like, what's it going to be about today? And,
Yeah.
you want to have that because it's like showing the unseen world that like you respect what they're doing for you. And you're like, all right, yeah, I got this. Like, I got you. You got me. We're together. And it's fucking bomb. It's amazing.
We're connected. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So once we have that done, we've talked to our candle. That's when we're going to pour our wax. Now, once you pour your wax, it's really fair game. Like, you can do things however you want. And I really urge you to experiment with your techniques. So sometimes I drop things in, like right after I pour my wax, I'm like, ooh, okay, maybe I'll put a little piece of rosemary and float it on top. Or maybe I'll drop, some sage in there right now. Or maybe, ooh, I feel like another crystal should just sink to the bottom right now. And you can go about it and be about it and kind of feel it out. It's going to be something totally different for everyone. And every way you do it is going to be different. Now, the biggest part, and in my opinion, the most important thing, don't worry, because you can cover anything with mica or sparkles or anything like that, that you need to when you get to the top, or crystals or herbs, is going to be getting these off. This is going to be more of a technical thing, not a magic thing, is getting this off and not having, there's not wax or anything in here, but not having the top of the candle crack. Now, if it does, it's totally fine, because you can make it look like an enchanted river or stream or whatever. But, just by putting things on there, be creative about it. Don't get too worried about it. Or with anything you're doing. But the surface of it, this is just if you're doing candles, you want your candle to still be, you don't want it to be moving. You don't want the stuff to be moving inside it, but you want it to have warmth still, because you're going to be sticking things in there and creating. Now, this could be whatever you're doing. If you're creating a spell jar, if you're doing a candle, whatever, we're going to talk about adding the top ingredients, sealing off the power. So your candle's almost done. Now, anything that you have inside the candle up until the top is already sealed in, theoretically, because once that hardens, it's going to be inside. But now we want to seal the top. So when we seal the top of a candle, we are essentially putting on our toppings like a sundae, okay? So this is when I would maybe put on my whole rosebuds, and you're decorating this. You want to do this off intuitive thought. Like, it is literally art, whatever you're doing, and you're kind of just bringing together the beauty, the stimulation. You're putting the emotion that you're feeling, everything you've thought about, your intention. This is the manifestation phase in this. And that's what's exciting, is you're at the point now where you've put together your formula. The universe called for something, you needed something, you gave the universe the ingredients, you've worked together, you've blended all of that, and now you're seeing the fruition of your manifestation, okay? And that's when we have really beautiful things that come out. Now, this candle is a garden tea time candle. So everything that's used are different like tea types, and like jasmines and violets, and you have an incense on the top to really, a vanilla one to add that like tea time feel, that confections feel, and everything like that. So it's really, really fun to do. And you want to make the top an expression of your truth. So every time you see it, you feel everything that you put inside there. You want to, just look at it and feel the intention, because then every time you see it, you're tapping into that frequency, you're tapping into that vibration, you're tapping into that next level. And then when you light it as well, everything that's on the top that you sealed it with is going to come down. That beauty of the physical world is going to be pulled down with the wax and be infused with the power of the spirit world. And as that burns away, those elements, those intentions, they enter your home, your universal frequencies, and they become physical things that smell, all of that molecules, physical manifestations of your intention, just like the candle is as a finished product that you get to do and visualize and be about and feel in everyday life. And you created that. And that's the biggest thing about manifestation, is it is creation. It's you and the universe creating side by side. All right. Ta-da.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. That's so beautiful too. I love, oh my I love that. And I appreciate you coming here today and talking to us
Yeah.
about, this process. And as you were talking, I got so many downloads for like new creations as well, total
Ooh, that's so
vibes. But
exciting.
yeah, because I don't know, I like the interconnectedness of everything and seeing how other people work, because a lot of people like in the group Moon Mystique and Mastery, like they're just coming into their gifts and starting to trust their intuition and playing with these things. So giving real life examples of, okay, this is how, one person does it, and
Yeah,
like listens to her. But I totally see how it's very similar. Like we're all creating different things as healers, are as soulpreneurs, I like to say,
yeah, I love
entrepreneurs.
that.
Um, but there's like this underlying current of how we listen to our intuition in that creation process. And I just think it's so beautiful. So I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, absolutely. It has been such a joy, and I'm so grateful to have had you ask me to be here. So thank you. I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone wants to follow me and get connected with me, you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as well. My tagline is Green Love with Kaitlyn, but abbreviated, so just the letters. And then I have the group as well, Moon Mystique and Mastery. I do things like tarot readings, moon calls, where we work with this emotions and breath work and tarot reading, and this call to help with that emotional alchemy, as Jess put it. But yeah, Jess, share with us, please, how people can stay connected with you or get connected with you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook as Divination Dreamer. So both of those. I also have a free collective group called Divination Dreamer as well. So basically, anywhere you search Divination Dreamer, that's where you're going to find me on all media outlets. Also linked up in all of those bios, I do have my website. So you can purchase any magical intention candles that you would ever want to, or create your own, and then I just put them together for you. So you feel that intention and I summon it for you, which I think is a really special thing, because you're kind of like my universe then in the equation, because you've given me something to respond to. So I have so much fun doing those. And yeah, everything is yeah, I would love to get in contact with anyone who's feeling it. And also, too, a lot of the things I do offer in my free collective, my group, I do work a lot with that shadow work that I spoke about. And that is all that emotional alchemy, transmuting the things that we once saw as darkness, like into our empowerment or into our strongest partner. You know what I mean? Because they really are our defining forces, and there's so much we can learn from ourselves. So I'm totally here for that in every way, shape, or form. I run a mastermind here on Facebook that is all about that kind of stuff. It is super rad too. I'm all about that.
It is, yes. Yeah, I highly recommend her collective group for sure. I've been following there for a while, and I was super excited that we could vibe on this and join in on a project now. So follow her there. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and happy new moon manifesting to you.